Right over inside. 6-speed STi GRF 2009 Impreza. I've taken all the internal centre console out, taken the brackets off here and the cover. Just be careful if you do actually purchase these rubbers that I'm replacing. I had a problem. They told me, oh yeah, there's four. There's four. The front two are for the bit on the end of the gear selector shaft on the gearbox, and I wanted the other two for the end of this shaft. Now, they told me it was these, but it's not. They're different altogether. These are $6, they're $70. I bought four of the same. They are on mine. They're all the same diameter shafts and bore holes, so it should work. Be careful on yours. They're not all the same, apparently. But this is the shaft that is replaceable and is actually cheaper than the two rubbers. Righto, here I am on my GRF STi sedan, or wagon. Sloppy gear shifter, really badly. Problem I initially thought was just replace all the rubbers and away we go, but after replacing the CRMPL joint or whatever it's called and the new inner shaft, also replaced the back mount up in there. As you can see, it doesn't seem to be a complete universal joint / swivel joint available anywhere on the internet. After going genuine, I've discovered that this part here, as in the gear shift rod, that's the end that comes off the gear selector, is one piece, and there's four little rubbers in there that need replacing in both of these, as you can see. Now the problem is you can only seem to get genuine. They're $70 each, and unfortunately that's the way I had to go due to circumstance. Now I've since found out that this whole shaft here disconnects from the gear shift lever and is available for $120, I think it was. So it's actually cheaper to buy that whole assembly here with this knuckle attached to it than it is to buy the two rubbers that go inside in here. But anyway, it was only about $20 dearer, and by the time I got back down there it wasn't worth it, so here we are. So I'm about to take these out now. In order to get all this out, I'll try and get back far enough. You've got to take, I actually have to take this guard up here, exhaust code heat shield, that has to come off. The cross member that bolts onto this for the gearbox, the middle cross member, has to come off to allow access to the shift mechanisms. Now this here is actually attached to a bracket in there. That bolt needs to come out, but it won't come all the way out. You don't actually, on mine, you don't have to take it all the way out. It's got a slotted groove in the shaft, which I'll get on here and show you. If you can see there, slotted groove, it actually comes out without having to take the bolt all the way out. There's also the bracket mounted to it for the reverse lock, which is this part here. You don't actually have to take that off, but it's got a little pin in there that holds it all together onto the shaft. When it's pulled, it just activates the shift lock mechanism for reverse. That comes in when you put it all back together. That's very important. You've got to have the car in reverse to allow access to the pin up on the gear lever. Alright, so after detaching this, taking that bracket off up in there, the 3 bolts, you can see there's actually a drive pin up on the end of this. I don't know if you'll see it through the light, but it's actually a double drive pin. You've got to knock the centre drive pin out first and then take the outer drive pin out, and that allows the whole swivel arm to detach. And once all this is detached, and sorry, you do have to actually take the reverse lock out on if you want to take the shift unit out of the car. You do have to actually detach that clip and remove this. And then once you get them two drive pins out, slide it backwards and the whole thing should just come off, and it's available to come out from the top. Okay, so the pins are out, and it's just a matter of sliding backwards like that, and then it all disengages. Could be because it's in a reverse gear at the moment, but you might have to muck around with the gear shifter just to get it loose, but that's actually off there at the moment. Go up inside and take the rest. So everything's disconnected, including the reverse lock. I've actually got a pin through mine there at the moment just to allow it to be not go back through, because the only gear, when you're putting it all back together, the only gear you can get this pin back through is in reverse. So you need to actually actuate the reverse lock out, put it into reverse, and then put the pin in. Be careful, another pain in the arse, caught me pushing this forward, which can be a small pain in the backside, because it's got to actually clear the back pin there into the back mounting, as you can see. I just had to wiggle it around a bit to get enough clearance to get this selector shaft off, which it now is. I think you can see it there on the video, I'm not sure. The rear pin is now the only thing holding it in there. It's just a matter of sliding that forward, and then the whole lot should come out through the top. Okay, we've got the gear shift unit out. I'm just in the process of actually replacing that. The rubber's in there. They're not the ones that are causing the sloppy shift. That's coming from down here with this in here. There's rubbers in there and here as well, both sides. Onto that, which sits at the front there. Pins go through the selector shaft there. So I'm in the process of replacing all them rubbers. But as I say, this bit here is the problem with the sloppy shift. There was no rubbers left in this, and it just slops around. So I'm replacing them, $70 a hit. Not bad for a little bit of rubber.